Hello, thanks for joining me. This is Jessie, and this is my channel, The Caffeinated Bookworm, and we are on Flustered Friday. This is my weekly wrap-up, and I have actually some stuff to talk to you about this week. So I did finish Rabbits by Terry Miles, which is the free ARC that I got from NetGalley, and I will post the link below to my review of that. I've gotten back to Dead House Gates, and I'm hoping to finish that sooner rather than later, because if you are doing the read along with Mike's book reviews, he has reworked the schedule, and so instead of 2 years to finish these books, it's cut down to, I think, about a year and a half. So I need to catch up because everybody else is. I'm fairly certain everybody else is done with Memories of Ice, or most people are almost done with Memories of Ice. Today is the last day of April, which means it's the last day of Poetry Month. I am going to be posting a couple poetry videos later, poems that I've written, and so keep an eye out for that. I wanted to talk about my family. So John has always been really supportive of anything I do. In fact, he's been more supportive of me than I have been of myself. He convinced me that I could leave the job that I was at about 6 or 7 years ago, because it was making me unhappy, miserable. It was going to give me an ulcer and kill me. And I was like, but I'm going to have to take a pay cut and I'm going to have to start over. And now I am in a better position than I was back then. I am so happy with the job and the company that I'm at. And so that was a huge, huge change in my life that he was a catalyst for. And then also, after my father died and I was miserable, he was like, hey, there's a library job. Why don't you apply for it? And when I realized I had to have a master's to be a librarian, at least down in San Antonio, and even up here near Columbus, that's a prerequisite. He pushed me to believe in myself, and now I have my associates and I'm working on my bachelor's, and hopefully I'm going to be moving on to my master's in library and information science here within the next year or two. And so like I said, he's always been super supportive. But he doesn't like to read. He's not unintelligent. He's a very smart person. He's brilliant. He knows how to fix almost anything. And if he doesn't know how to fix it, he's going to figure it out. And then he'll be a master at fixing whatever that happens to be. He knows how to fix cars. He knows how to work on lighting systems. He's I would say a jack of all trades, except when I say that, it makes him sound like he knows a little bit about a lot of things, but really he knows a lot about a lot of things. But he doesn't read. He doesn't like to read books, and so when I tell him about books, he listens. Maybe he'll zone out in a couple places, but he doesn't read them along with me. And so the fact that he's watching this, and he'll text me, after he watches the video, when I posted my can you adapt it tag video, he watched it and then he texted me Tom Bombadil to let me know that he had watched it. And I was like, oh my God, that is so sweet. And then there's my kids. I wasn't really sure how my kids were going to react to this. And at first they were like, we want a YouTube channel. And I was like, no, we're still on no on that. And we're fighting about that quite often, but they watch my videos, and it's unnerving to watch, to walk into the house and see my face up on our big old TV screen in our living room. But it's touching that my children watch my videos. And so I wanted to give a shout out to my wonderful, beautiful, amazing, sweet, supportive family. Thank you so, so much. Also, John made me a t-shirt. It's not going to be here for a couple of weeks, but he made me a t-shirt that says The Caffeinated Bookworm. And so that was so amazingly sweet as well. I'm going to touch on Magic the Gathering real quick. And I mean, Magic the Gathering is such a big part of our lives. You're going to hear me talk about it. And I know it's not books, but so their newest set release, which is Strixhaven, I'm getting really big Harry Potter vibes out of it. First of all, there's owls all over the place. And so that was the first clue, but it didn't dawn on me that it was Harry Potter related or magical school related anyway. But there's campuses, there's lessons. I actually got a book or a card called Bookworm. I don't have it on me at the moment, but I will. I'll show you that later. You can look it up. And so it's a really interesting set. I'm enjoying the set a lot. I did get an email yesterday that I was going to be receiving the book that I ordered back in January, which is my friend Dan McDowell's book. It is a book of short stories. Dan doesn't know that I have this channel. I think I mentioned before that I really haven't told too terribly many people that I know in real life about this channel, mainly because I wanted to see how it took off without that, without getting my friends and family to all come and subscribe to me to bulk up the subscription list. I didn't want to do that because I was it wouldn't tell me how I was actually doing with the channel, on the onset. But once I get the book, I am going to drop everything. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to leave my review, and then I'm going to send him a link to the video with the review to kind of surprise him. So I have read his short stories, which is what it is. It's a book of short stories. He's an amazing writer, and so I have no doubt that this book that's coming is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So let me see. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah. So Wheel of Time. I saw on Mike's Book Reviews weekly wrap up. He's asking for a trailer from the Wheel of Time. And I have to agree, because if it's supposed to be coming out anytime soon, we need more than just these little clips and pictures of, who's going to be playing in it and, the set. We do. I happen to agree with him. We definitely need a trailer. And so let's get that started. Let's get all the people in BookTube heaven over here and everybody say, we need a trailer, an actual trailer for the Wheel of Time. That would be wonderful. If you're not signed up for Tor, and if you read science fiction fantasy, you know who Tor is. But if you're not signed up for Tor, I would recommend signing up for emails from them, subscribe to them, because today they had some pretty interesting stuff in their email. They had a free preview of Star Eater by Kirsten Hall. And if you pre-ordered a Master of Jinn and sent them your receipt for it, for the pre-order, they will send you a free enamel pin. And they also have a free download of their 2021 debut sampler. And so that was something that I found was interesting. Also, to everybody that I follow on BookTube, I'm really sorry that I go back and I edit my responses all the time, because what happens is I start watching your video and I'm like, oh my goodness, awesome. And I'm like, I want to type out how awesome your video is. And then I get through a little bit more of the video and then I have something that I want to comment on. And so I'll go back and edit. And then I get to the end and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have something else I want to comment on. And so I go back and edit. So I'm going to try to stop doing that. Oh, I wanted to show you. Jenna got these for me a while back, but they're pretty neat, and I wanted to show them to you. They're Edgar Allan Poe. Man, this light is horrible. I'm going to have to invest in a better light. Edgar Allan Poe stamps. I thought those were pretty cool. Also, John and I started watching Seinfeld, and I know this isn't book-related at all. It's not funny. Jerry Seinfeld is not funny. And, this is a huge thing, with a certain age group, and everybody knows all the episodes, from Seinfeld, and they can point to a Seinfeld episode for just about anything in life. And that's me with books, something's going on and I'm like, hey, that's this book. Let me recommend this book, and, normal people, I guess, who grew up watching Seinfeld or watched Seinfeld for, the majority of the time that it was out, they have a Seinfeld episode for everything, going on in life. And we're currently on, I don't know, the 6th or 7th episode. We started watching it. And I mean, there's a couple things in there that I'm like, oh, that's funny, and it's entertaining. I don't mind watching it. I don't hate the show. I just don't think that he's, slap your thigh, guffaw, chortle, hilarious. I don't get it. But we're moving on to this because we've started binge watching, I guess, sitcoms. The last one we just finished with Rules of Engagement, and oh my goodness, by the time we were done binge watching Rules of Engagement, I hated every single person in that show. They're all terrible people, and from what I understand, that's the premise of Seinfeld, is that they're all terrible people. I'm like, why would you move me from one show about these really horrible people to another show about these really horrible people? But we'll see. And before that, we had binge watched My Name is Earl. Now, I like binge watching the sitcoms because we had binge watched Sons of Anarchy. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved Sons of Anarchy. We actually binge watched it after we started watching the Mayans MC, because I saw the preview for the Mayans MC before we started watching it, and I was like, oh my god, those guys look like my brothers. And if you know that side of my family, I'm not joking. Like they look like my brothers, all in the Mayans. And so we got through, I think, season 1 of the Mayans, and then John was like, well, let's watch Sons of Anarchy, because this was a spin-off of Sons of Anarchy. So we binge watched Sons of Anarchy, which was absolutely brutal. Don't binge watch that. It was a good show. Phenomenal show. I loved it. Don't binge watch it. And then before that, we had binge watched Lost. John kind of lost interest in Lost about 3/4 of the way through, and I was in it till the end. I loved it. I might rewatch it. Has anybody watched Lost Girl? I feel like if you like science fiction fantasy, you're gonna love Lost Girl. I think it was produced in Canada, but it was absolutely awesome. They have a Blood King. They have Dyson, who's a werewolf. They have a succubus. It's all really fascinating. Valkyrie. I loved it. That's another one I might rewatch. Currently, we're watching also The Mentalist, but we are not quite binge watching it to put it like that. We're watching maybe one episode every 2 or 3 days. But the sitcoms that are currently out that we're watching are Bob Hearts Abishola. I love that show. I love Bob Hearts Abishola. I think it's the best show out there. The Neighborhood. The United States of Al. I didn't like the pilot to the United States of Al. I was like, I don't really want to watch this. But now I love it. It's a good show. It is actually with the guy who played Timmy in the Rules of Engagement. When I saw that, I was like, oh my god, I'm going to hate this show so much. And also the guy who was in the mini series of Under the Dome and Claws. Of all things, yes, I watched Claws. And we watched Be Positive. Be Positive is absolutely hilarious. I love Be Positive. Be Positive and Bob Hearts Abishola are like my favorite shows out there right now. But Be Positive is a little weird, especially the beginning, like the music and the thing at the beginning is odd. And John used to skip it for me because I was like, I don't want to watch that. But then I got addicted to it, and I'm like, no, don't skip the intro. And we're also watching The Equalizer and Clarice, which are two darker kind of things. And Clarice is the spinoff of like the Hannibal books by Thomas. I forgot who wrote them. I haven't read them, but that's about it for today. I think I mentioned I'm going to be posting some poems a little bit later because it's the last day of Poetry Month. And that's about it. So thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe below, and you have a wonderful day.